My instinct is always for freedom. My own. Freedom for me or freedom for nobody.
I'm a descendant of slaves whose masters controlled every aspect of their lives. So I know the value of liberty. But more and more my fear is we are becoming a slave nation. I mean, we think we are free, but we are not. We are slaves to work.
I've worked 94 hours this week.
If we argue about anything else, it's always work.
Slaves to success.
Come on up. Okay.
Slaves to the might of the global corporations.
We're not going back anywhere. You lock us up.
And I'm starting this journey with a mission to discover if we are destined to be slaves in the area of sex and sexual morality.
Sex is not a recreational sport. It can be a very dangerous thing. Maybe the most dangerous thing you'll ever do in your life.
The mistakes we made in the 60s, we're just not learning from them.
An environment which is full of pornography, full of sexual license, promiscuity, fornication.
The pill started everything. It was the pill.
Subversive influences which didn't exist 40 years ago.
That's what I want to explore. And I'll battle any force that stands in my way.
Kensington.
I'm setting off for the world of the single professional female.
I know her.
You know what strikes me? She's free from chastity, morality, and the economic shackles that once trapped women. Yet, despite the appearance of liberation, she doesn't want to be free. She hates it. She wants a husband, slave to the idea of the perfect partner.
My age is 37, very shortly about to be 38. I am single and always have been single.
Just keep it going, come on. 3.5 minutes to go.
I find it really hard to find men. I work very hard. I wouldn't want to go to pubs, wouldn't want to go to singles bars. The dating agency I've joined is one that is professionals looking for professionals, so it kind of narrows the field down a bit.
What's strange in this slave nation is how men and women are now so trapped, so inhibited. They can't find love or sex without signing up at a dating agency.
Drawing down the moon.
More and more, if you're looking for a partner, you pay someone else to help.
Hello.
Darcus Howe speaking.
Come up to the top floor.
I've never had any difficulty in making relationships with women.
You're lucky that it just all comes so naturally. A lot of people have it stamped out of them.
Hello.
Darcus, hi, I'm Mary.
I know.
Follow me.
This is rather comfortable.
Yeah, it's my comfy little den. Now, normally when clients come in to see me, we have a bit of a natter first of all.
Let's say I've come here to get introduced to a woman because you want a partner so desperately.
I'm going to stop you right there. If we think somebody's desperate, Darcus, we would tell them to hang on, wait a bit.
But everybody has to be desperate if you're 38.
I do not accept that. We're not for desperate people. You see, you're carrying around with you this sort of myth that it's for losers and loners, and it's not.
What I'm looking for is a long-term partner, maybe marriage. I'd like it to be marriage. I'm not looking for someone who's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. So I'm looking for the big thing.
think she looks prettier there.
Okay.
I think I'd go with that one, definitely.
Great, thanks.
I guess it is about advertising yourself to other people.
Visual marketing. It's a visual system.
But I'm not sure there's anything wrong in doing that.
Right, Lizzie, hi. I've got all your stuff here. Okay, we've just been looking at photos.
Right.
This is the one we think's the best.
We've got to find you 15 or 20 women, possibly, for one of those to work out. Now, you might make friends with 5, but only one is going to work out.
If I want to meet somebody, they have to smell in a certain way. You know, there's some human smells I don't like. I don't mean smelly. I mean the scent. I'm like a mongrel, see? You know, I like some meat on the bone.
Yeah, yeah.
I like a woman with a nice West Indian ass, you know?
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. That's nice.
I do probably tend to prefer tall men to short men, but not necessarily a great sense of humour, mid-40s.
I'm at best puzzled that you meet someone on a piece of paper.
If you expect to meet somebody who's really very right for you just by accident, you know, it's just not going to happen. I mean, I often say to people, look, on your way here today...
So you think if my wife dies tomorrow, I'm in Shit Street with the lights at red?
You're not, because there's a shortage of older men. You'd be inundated, Darcus.
Is that so?
Yes, but for women in your age group, of course, it's a big problem because there just aren't enough men to go around.
Well, if they make you laugh, it's a good start. Okay, here's another one. Definite must. Duncan. He's 47. Okay, I won't click him. What do you think of those two?
Might consider him, but I don't know about whether I would.
I wonder who else there is.
There are always shortages of one sex or the other to match up.
Don't you have a 40-year-old?
Do you think she'd want to meet you?
I'm absolutely certain. But looking at the picture, I mean, she looks very attractive. Good mane of hair. Reasonably enough, I would say. There's something sad about her face. I love work. That's it. That she begins by saying, I love work. And my response instinctively is, what about me? What chance have I got? I'm going in there to see what's happening. When I first came here 40 years ago, I walked these streets along with all my mates on a Friday night, on a Saturday night, hunting for pussy. It was part of the joys of spring, going up to women and picking them up, man. Just hustling pussy. And one of the reasons that I felt absolutely free when I landed in England is because I didn't have to hide from my parents anymore or pay for a dingy little hotel anymore. I could have my room and my key and my woman or women, as the case may be. Sex is everywhere. Wherever you turn, whether you're reading a newspaper or looking at a billboard, it's sex. Yet, in the midst of all of this, there seems to be a retreat from each other, a fear of each other. Water, water everywhere, not a drop to drink.
In the slave nation, sex is everywhere in public and less in private.
This is the moment when I'm going to put my ideas to the test. I've never been on a blind date before.
I did think when I was sort of 18, 19, 20 that I would be married and having kids at 24. I want to have a good job. I've never asked for a good job. My career has happened on me rather than me going for my career. I never went out saying I'm going to be a career woman.
Go with that. Her name is Lizzie, and she has raised my expectations. I expect to hit the button.
You've made me cross. You've made me upset, actually.
I expect to register somewhere where it matters.
You stop filming now. Hello.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Great pleasure.
Hi.
Maybe.
Lovely. Wow.
Well.
Oh, they're beautiful. Thank you.
I'm absolutely surprised upon meeting you that you're on a list looking for a partner. You're gregarious.
I like to think I am.
I know that. This is a question of time.
I think I'm like most women, which is inside is a very little girl who would long to find her prince who's going to carry her off on her white charger.
This fantasy human, could he be a carpenter?
Could be a carpenter.
A dustbin man?
Could be a dustbin man. I think it's unlikely. I think it's probably, for me, unlikely.
Princes don't come along.
Oh, but I wish they would. Sometimes they do.
Well, you play the lottery? 500,000 to 1?
Yeah, sometimes they do.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thanks.
She is handsome looking woman. She has a good appetite. She loves a glass of wine. All of that is, she's enjoying. But at the same time, I can't help, as a man of some experience, to feel that there is something crumbling beneath the surface.
Why is going to a dating agency any different to you recommending a friend?
Oh,
that might
that's
be...
something else.
Why? Why?
Do you fill out a form with a friend?
If the social infrastructure was there, and I don't believe it is any longer...
Liz, we agree so much. Lizzie, your job takes so much of your time.
Yes.
You have little time for frivolity.
I missed the window. The window was in my 20s. I'm saying give yourself a helping hand.
Play the lottery.
I'm saying give yourself a helping hand.
Play the lottery.
I believe in helping your own fate.
What does that mean?
I mean by that fate is something that happens to you, but you can give it a helping hand.
You got a huge frown.
You've made me cross.
That is it.
You made me upset, actually.
Any one of your dates made you cross?
No.
What happens with them? They bore you.
Stop filming now.
What's the problem?
I don't know. No, but you just touched something deep inside me, which is...
I didn't set out to do that. She said that I had touched something deep in her. But whatever it is, it's just beneath the surface. Okay.
Of course I'm thinking I'm 38 and I haven't, I'm not married. I'd love to have children. I'm great with children. The reality is that may never happen to me.
Lizzie is pleasant enough, but she is shackled to the idea of the perfect partner.
I found Darcus a charming man.
And there are thousands and thousands like her.
There wasn't enough.
The emancipated woman has paid the ultimate price for economic freedom.
Do you know, I think the answer might be yes, actually. I think I might see him for a second date.
Slave to the very thing that promised liberation.
I'm not sure I'd want him as a partner, but I think I might want him as a friend.
So that despite all this progress, she's not free at all. I left Lizzie feeling a little sad. I know I would never have met Mrs. Howe at a dating agency. What I didn't know were the terrors I'd meet on the next part of my journey. I've left London and its neuroses, and I'm heading for the West Country.
We're sitting on a time bomb, breeding a generation of children who are becoming more and more socially dysfunctional.
There is no escape from this slave nation.
How many of you imagine that at some point in your lives you will choose to get married or have a long-term relationship? Thank you.
I'm going to meet a group of people who believe that we ought to be imprisoned in our marriages until death.
We want to see the divorce rates dropped. If we continue to allow marriage to erode, our society is going to continue to go down the tubes as it is.
Divorce ought to be celebrated. Anybody who challenges that is an enemy of freedom. I found this band not in the heat of a capital city, but in a barn in deepest Devon.
Totnes appeared on the face of it, wonderful countryside. But we had to disinfect ourselves before we entered this converted farmhouse.
The baptism of the shoe.
Where there was something quite odd happening.
I, Robert.
I, Andrew.
Take you, Helen.
Take you, Jackie.
To my wedding.
This weekend, there will be 8 couples, and they're coming on, one could actually liken it to an MOT for a car.
For better, for worse.
Virtually all the couples do not actually have the skills to make their relationship work well. They don't know, and it's by pot luck that they are survivors.
Lord, we give ourselves afresh to you.
There were some middle-aged couples and a few young ones spending this weekend in marriage enrichment. And there was a deep Christian touch to it.
Amen.
So one felt that as someone who married twice, and as someone who is seriously supportive of divorce, that one really had to disinfect oneself before you went into this almost angelic Christian surroundings. Good morning, everybody.
Hi.
I'm here making a program on freedom, and I hope to spend the next few hours with you.
Perhaps we might all agree that to communicate well is not easy.
And what we're really going to is complete openness and honesty.
It has been said that it takes 7 positives to counteract and overcome 1 negative.
This is a workshop in which I was supposed to enrich my relationship with Mrs. Howe. She refused to attend.
Okay, now what we would love to do is just to take 10 minutes to write a love letter which actually starts with love and finishes with love. I mean, that may be your problem.
Others were more obedient.
And this thing really does work.
Do you want to read our love letters to each other?
Yeah. Only this one.
I guess so.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah?
Yes.
Thank you. So what are you going to tell her now?
Well, John said you need 9 positives to counteract a negative. So
not 9, 7.
7.
Yeah.
If there's anything negative I'm going to say about my feelings, I want them to be covered in the love of the positive. So I start with the positive, and I am with the positive.
Right.
It's mainly about sometimes I undermine him because of my frustrations, and I know that that's wrong. So in a sense, I'm asking forgiveness for that, but I'm also telling him how much I love him. And we've been married 37 years, and it started off a bit dodgy. So, not an easy thing to talk about, actually. But I suppose I'd just say we had to get married.
I had to get married to Una. It was 1965.
I met you the day after my 21st birthday.
Yeah.
Which is how come my mother got so upset.
What are you talking about? The fact that you were pregnant?
Yes.
But we didn't want to get married at the time, did we?
I didn't want to get married, no. I didn't think you wanted to get married.
We met in January.
We were going to do it in the registry office, and then my mother said she'd been praying all night and come up with the answer. And that was to go and get married in church. The next thing, the vicar was on the doorstep. The worst part was that we shared a single bed with me 6 months pregnant, because the landlord had kicked me out for being immoral. It was madness. We were poor.
I'm going to give you, this is yours. That is very sentimental to me, whiskey.
You mean that was the honey trap?
The honey trap. There was
a dance.
A dance.
And I noticed that in your back pocket was a bottle of whiskey. So that was an added incentive.
We met, and first night we met in bed. I think we spent a week in bed. And I had a Swedish girlfriend who had walked out on me.
That's not my memory of the situation, but do you want my version?
You weren't there, no.
Suffice it to say, there is another version.
There always is with you and I. Two versions.
We are talking about a husband and wife. Just look at this quickly. That top triangle there says that we need to start to really develop a very close intimacy with a very few people. And
these people claim to have the recipe to keep those in crumbling relationships chained together.
I mean, I feel that this weekend is an important, pivotal one for us. That's my feeling about it. Because our life, in many ways, is at a turning point.
It is. Yes.
And
wanting to find out the purpose.
We've got to
for
a
the
point
next
of
few
life where,
years.
with retirement, children now off our hands.
When the tutor says, say everything you feel, my immediate instinct is, why? Why should I do that? There must be mystery.
We're not saying we want all the mystery taken out of life. I mean, this diagram that they've used now, and you saw it in my letter, this is a diagram which shows the relationship of the man, the wife, and God. The closer you draw to God, the narrower the base of the triangle becomes.
I sat and looked at all these diagrams and all these kind of little simplicities and foolishness, really, put up on a board by amateurs.
What are my feelings about? W-A-M-F-A. The jargon is WAMFA. Okay. So
psychobabble on a massive scale. And it makes no sense. That's what strikes me. How mature people could sit, and some of them educated, and listen to all of this.
When you sum up remembrance of things past, do you ask yourself, why did we split up?
No, never. I know why we split up.
Why?
Because I wasn't able to live the life I wanted to live while you were living the life you wanted to live. Fidelity is just a no-no. It doesn't exist. Does it?
I think culturally, there's a huge separation.
The only time you have ever raised the issue of race with me is when we've been in a major row and you've accused me of being a white liberal and having bridge-playing friends.
And I'm a little disappointed of you, that frivolous attitude you've got. I really am.
Fine.
I think I should not have given you the whiskey. As usual, you started yap-yap.
Which way are we going?
This
No,
way.
don't do that. I'm not having that. That's
You interfered with me, I can't take it.
No, you're not doing that shit. Putting words in my mouth that I didn't say.
You know what I would enjoy? Having a nice house with lovely children.
Oh, you lie.
And being decent.
You lie. Which way is it?
Down here.
It's not.
No, down across there. Forget that. For the rest of your life, forget that. When a marriage is done, it's done. We are not any longer be made to stay in these rotten relationships. I am defending that with my life. The battle is on. What side are you on? Was Mary married to Joseph? Where and when? She was not allowed to have the child anywhere else but in a manger because nobody would have her. Christ was a bastard. Anyway, you understand what I'm telling you? The only remnant of Christianity's power over society is this question of divorce.
You are talking all the time about divorce. I'm talking about all the time about relationships which are growing and blossoming.
Why do you appoint yourself then?
Why do we appoint? We don't appoint ourselves to anything.
You must do. You're not elected to do that. Who are you to elevate yourself in a democratic society to bring upon people a stigma by implication if you're divorced? This isn't just a panic. They have built a project, a program with a plan.
It's a destabilization of the couple which seems to create the mayhem which we see in our societies.
I wanted to meet Miss Grimshaw, the brains behind the scheme to cut the local divorce rate in Devon by teaching relationship skills to man, woman, and child.
When we were doing this marriage enrichment work on our farm, and we've had over 400 couples through it, what we found with all of them, which applied to my wife and myself, is that we didn't really know how to handle conflict.
Let me put it a bit straight to you. Let's have a seat here. There are very few areas of our lives now which people are not interfering in. Aren't you part of that tendency in society?
I would fully agree with you that a couple relationship is a very private matter and should be private and should remain private. However, you've got to balance that up with the consequences of the outcome of that couple relationship.
You know what you're going to end up with? A society with every wife looking the same and saying the same thing to her husband, and every husband saying the same thing to the wife. They would say, as in your seminar there this weekend, "Ah, babe, darling, I love you, I love you, I love you." Ah, for heaven's sake. What? That's a production line of human beings.
Well, whatever you say, all I can say is as a very ordinary person.
You're not ordinary. You know who ordinary? Those millions of people you see coming out of factories.
I would say that you need some communication skills. You're not listening to me.
Why? I'm not listening to you. I listen to every single thing you've said.
I just want a better.
You are a middle class.
Absolutely.
Busybody, basically. Well, you feel you know. I'm a Christian, I know.
Have I said that?
That's writ large in everything you say.
Well, that's
I'm
your
going
opinion.
to teach these minions how to run their lives.
Well, I think that's a very insulting statement.
I broke free from Trinidad because I can't tolerate any master who seeks to control, who even suggests how I live and love within my own four walls. That bears the stamp of slavery, so I had to get out of Devon. I was heading for the north of Scotland, where the journey would end in confrontation with no holds barred.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. O my God, through the Immaculate Heart of Mary, I offer you my thoughts, words, joys, and sufferings of this day.
Man has a bent towards sin, and that in itself, by definition, is a kind of slavery.
Bring the Bible back into the classroom and get the morning after pill out the classroom.
Let's be very, very careful about what we teach our children in school about sex.
Michael the Archangel, defend us in this day of battle. We are safeguard against the wickedness of
I think children are in more danger in an environment which is full of pornography, sexual license, promiscuity, fornication, subversive influences which didn't exist 40 years ago.
Satan down into hell, and with him all the other wicked spirits who wander through the world for the ruin of souls.
Premarital sex, extramarital sex,
Pray for us.
fisting and rimming, and the use of excretia and urination.
Pray for us.
Scatting and water sports and such filth and perversion.
Somebody has to stop this. The libertarian, laissez-faire, do what you like philosophy has not worked.
This nation as a whole has went away from this book.
We believe it's all the same fight. Homosexuality, sex education, abortion, it's all the same fight.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
I came to Scotland and walked into a battle zone on the very question of sex and freedom.
Hello.
And you are?
I'm Nikki Willis. How do you do?
Pleasure, Darcus Howe. May I take my coat off? I was quite apprehensive in meeting, on the face of it, a quite ordinary family. English dad, Dutch mom, a clutch of beautiful girls, and yet they are intense on campaigning against sex education in schools and promiscuity in general. So I've met you.
Yeah, I've met me.
So you all are in it as strong believers?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm 23 now. I mean, I don't need anyone to get me up to go to Mass. That's my choice.
For you too, Simon?
Yeah.
I'm not inciting your children against you.
Well, you can
But
try.
that's
You can try, Darcus.
Hello.
Oh, hello. Hello, Darcus. Hello.
We are really totally against sex education.
Even though it helps children.
Yeah, but we don't believe it does help children. We would actually call it pornography, as strongly as that. We could call it pornography. And if I would show you the books, a booklet for young people. Now, the language that these people use has to be exposed because it's absolutely awful. Excuse me for reading it out to you. Sexual intercourse is sometimes called making love, having sex, fucking, or having a shag. Now, I mean, if my child uses that word, the F word, I mean, you would just be absolutely horrified. And these people...
Would you?
Oh, absolutely horrified. What a language to use.
I am absolutely shocked
I think that is
that
awful.
you don't know, Nikki, these things, that's exactly true.
But that is not how you speak to somebody. You're trying to explain something that is beautiful to children, and you use foul language.
Nikki, the children you have in your mind don't exist anymore and never will.
But they do exist. They are like that when they're young, and we should keep them like that. If they don't exist, they have been corrupted along the way.
The horse has broken out of the stable, Nikki, and you can't ever get it back. Please believe me.
Now,
All right.
this is a booklet I can't look at.
I respect
it's
that.
too
I respect
awful.
that. Well, turn your face. Let me open it for the camera.
Well, I haven't really ever. Well, I've looked at it, glimpsed at it, but it is photographs of real men having active homosexual sex, 2-3 men at the same time. I mean, if that isn't pornography, what is?
I will tell you something for myself. Without seeing them, I was quite ignorant of what actually happened. And I'm 50, so I think it's good for me. I never knew. I just knew they were gay men.
Well, but you're not a young boy. You know, you're a man, and I still think it's awful to.
What age for a young boy would get that?
14, 15-year-old boys.
Oh yes, this is quite normal.
But
so.
but these boys, They might
is noble
think
stuff.
that is not noble, so that is absolutely awful.
Nikki, my dear, I'm trying to bring you into the real world.
What is the real world?
Your knowledge
That's
of, your idea of children, Nikki, please believe me,
well, this is
not exist anymore. That history has swept that away.
Well, we have to bring it back. That's all I can. That's why we have this fight. We have to bring it back.
Bring it back to...
The Ten Commandments.
And you think we should go back to that?
We should really go back to that, yes, and then we would end all this chaos
in society.
In society.
There is no return to the past. You can't do it.
Oh, you can.
Okay.
Oh, you can. If enough of us fight hard enough, you can.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay. Thank you. The resurrection of all this religious humbug comes at a time when the whole world is uncertain. And you always know those moments when somebody tells you this world has to be governed by the 10 Commandments, a document that has been written thousands and thousands of years ago. The answer to that is no. It's gobbledygook. That is vomit coming up from the past. We are not going back to be governed by any men in long dresses and capes and little skull caps and all of that. Answer no. No, no, no. The worst drug is religion. Today is a day of political activity. The family is holding a press conference in Edinburgh.
That's the Press Association wanting a bit more detail, and they want the press pack. They're not attending. You know, they might try and stir up some of the rest of the press.
You're really into the marriage and chastity business.
Yeah, well, I believe in that, yeah. I don't want to have to worry about unwanted pregnancy or how many partners I've had or what diseases I could catch or who they've been with.
What's your position?
My only ambition, really, is to get married and have lots of kids. That's what I'd like, and that's what I've always thought, really.
How many children about? You said lots.
6 or 8.
These stupid bus companies. You know, the contract's at 11 o'clock. It's typical, just don't turn up.
They haven't been answering the last hour. They've been engaged beforehand, so they're probably on their way. They should be here in about 10 minutes.
I have a daughter who was pregnant at 15. She hasn't done anything wrong. I didn't always think that. She wanted to have a child, and she had one, and that was her right.
And you think that's acceptable?
Why is it wrong to do that? It's her body.
You get a mature 15-year-old or an immature one, but at 15, basically, you're still really young.
I'm a man who is... I'm always running up Freedom Street.
Right.
Oh, here it comes. Yeah.
I want to talk about temptations. You never are tempted at all?
Tempted to be doing what everybody else is doing?
Yeah.
No, because I think that's a nightmare. I would hate to be doing what they're doing.
That's why they call it love, making love, and that's not what you're doing.
What are we doing?
Having recreational sex.
I wouldn't have much respect for myself if that's what I was doing.
All my daughters, I'm sure, that they don't look like virgins to me. This is quite normal.
So if they didn't, would you think you had abnormal children?
I would have thought that something was wrong with her.
Do you think we're abnormal?
No. I find it unusual. Very, very, very unusual.
I faxed that guy from the Press Association with the briefing notes. So I've got a set of those.
The house I went to, the family, they were very deeply religious, deeply fearful of the world to come, hanging violently onto the past, and perhaps wanting to replicate in the rest of society the kind of sterilized existence. There's a menace about them. The spirits of the past inhabit the home, and the chanting of rituals. You wouldn't get that in my house. You'd get the chanting of rude calypsos and illegitimate children running around. Perhaps a whiff of the herb. They would see my family and I as a bunch of irredeemable sinners. I've got 7 children, born of 4 mothers, some out of wedlock.
Oh, hi. Yeah. Hello. Hello, Nathan.
My daughter is now 21. Hey, boy. She taught me the greatest lesson in freedom. Is he better now?
He's a lot better. He's still got...
Are you? When Claire was 15, she told me she was pregnant and I got very angry. You know, there's all kinds of things about single mothers. It's almost like you commit a crime. That the child is going to be somehow deprived, that somehow it's your parents' fault, you weren't brought up properly, whatever. How do you respond to it? Because I'll tell you how I respond.
A lot of the time I just look and I laugh now because I've done it. And I've done it well. And I've done it young. And if I can do it, anyone can do it. I'm not saying it's the best way or the ideal way, but it is a way.
And you look well. You know what I mean? All the fat that you have when you make babies is gone. You're playing football, you look well, and you're still fighting. I made such a fuss when you were having Natty. I told her she had destroyed herself, she had embarrassed me. She was a little child who was prone to vice. It was fear, and I won't justify it. I won't justify that. You know, you just... I tried my best, but I just had to explode at least once. You don't keep me in your mind for it.
No. What's done is done. I believe I've done enough to silence those words now, so...
I was wrong. Because you have a right to have a child if you want it. You have an absolute right.
Yeah.
But you stood up, you're the only child who stood up to me. Anyway, I love you.
Yeah.
It's good to see you.
Tired.
Hi, hello everybody. What's happening?
Right, we're going to run through a briefing now, Darcus Howe.
What happened to the press conference?
Well, any members of the press here?
So the press conference is off?
Yes.
Do you mind if I sit?
Not at all, carry on.
For a while and see what...
Carry on.
What's happening?
I want to spend 10 minutes briefing you on the launch. If you keep those mobiles quiet, Jim. After 30 years of sex education in our schools, it's been an unmitigated disaster. And we all know that because of the rising incidence of sexually transmitted disease, pregnancy and abortion. And they're quite proud of the work they're doing. They believe that's the right strategy, to educate children as young as 7 about masturbation. We believe that corrupts children and takes away their innocence. And every parent wants to maintain the innocence of their children and doesn't want legalized paedophilia.
Yeah.
I don't know how powerful they are, this type. I took heart from the fact that the press ignored them. But wherever they exist, I take them seriously.
No, it's the opposite way from none. That's it, that's up. That's volume up.
Sex education is!
And the economic shackles that once trapped women. Yet, despite the appearance of liberation, she doesn't want to be free. She hates it. She wants a husband, slave to the idea of the perfect partner.
age is 37, very shortly about to be 38. I am single and always have been single.
Just keep it going, come on. 3.5 minutes to go.
I find it really hard to find men. I work very hard. I wouldn't want to go to pubs, wouldn't want to go to singles bars. The dating agency I've joined is one that is professionals looking for professionals.